Hey guys, thank you for joining us. If you need one reason, you might as well have five. And if you're new to the channel, please hit the sub button because we publish content every day.
Tsotsi from South Africa.
South Africa has come a long way since its first kinetoscope in 1895, having been one of the first countries in the world to see and hear sound motion pictures. One would assume that we are one of the leading countries in motion pictures today. However, that is not the case, a major contributor being the injustices and inequalities that South Africa faced during the apartheid regime. And yes, South African cinema has some noteworthy moments prior 1990. This includes the release of movies like Mambatsula in 1988, Cecil Kilaway getting the first Oscar nod in 1948, and even the launch of what was considered Black TV by SABC, TV2 and TV4. But in today's list, we look at movies that have had a cultural impact in our cinematic history. This focusing on movies released post-1990 and exclude animation movies and series. And today's list is not a ranking, but a timeline on the 5 powerful cinematic shifters in the past 3 decades. At number 5 is the 1992 Sarafina, directed by Daryl James, starring the incomparable Leleti Khumalo and the iconic Whoopi Goldberg. Sarafina tells a story of the 1976 Soweto uprising, an adaptation of Mbongeni Ngema's musical play of the same name. Was the movie executed perfectly? Honestly, no, it was a mess. The adaptation from theatre to film proved to be difficult for producers and directors. But let's be honest, Sarafina was more than about production. It's a timeless classic that offers immortality and entertainment value to a period that was very central to our identity. And for the first time, every young black girl entertained the possibilities of being president. And what could be more important than that? A decade later, at number 4 is Leon Schuster's 2002 Mr. Bones, produced by Anat Singh, who also produced Sarafina. Mr. Bones' appearance in this list is about being bankable, as Leon Schuster's proved that South African content is as bankable as any international content. Mr. Bones became the highest grossing South African movie ever. By May 2002, he had earned 32 million, just behind the Titanic and beating The Lord of the Rings and Harry Potter. The takeaway from here is that if you have a big enough budget, you can make magic. And Leon Schuster was not just laughing with us, but he was laughing all the way to the bank. My next guy needs no introduction. At number 3 is Tsotsi. If you were not camping in the early mornings in 2006 waiting for confirmation that Tsotsi had indeed won an Oscar for Best Foreign Film, it's either you were too young or you and I have nothing to discuss. Jokes. Tsotsi is simple yet profound, a reality for most South Africans. But it does not sentimentalize poverty as African movies often do. It does not make Tsotsi more colorful than he ought to be. If he deserves praise, it's not for changing for the good, but it's for allowing himself to be distracted from being a bad man by a baby. This movie is not about violence, HIV, or even apartheid, but it deals with character development so beautifully. It's proof of other 1,000 untold stories in our beloved country. A great review that we saw said that it's a redemption song that could be stripped down into a Hallmark-esque distillation of City of God. Instead, it retains a minor key with bullets, blood, and beating, illustrating a descent into dangerous living, whilst a baby's presence suggests hope. And we said to that, who are we if not the victims of our unjust system? We've seen a lot of movies about Nelson Mandela, international and local adaptations, some adequate, some horrid, and a few great. We've seen Utata in politics, but not in sports. And coming in at number 2 is a 2009 sport drama starring Morgan Freeman and Matt Damon, Invictus, directed by the legendary Clint Eastwood, who in this movie threw caution in the wind. The movie is about Mandela in rugby, in a Hollywood that was about vampires and iron superheroes. Definitely not in the list of movies to finance, because they didn't think it was bankable. But Clint Eastwood made a movie to make about Madiba. And Morgan Freeman does an amazing job evoking Utata, showing his bigger-than-life presence, confidence, and that humorous element that was always his signature. This movie took us back into a glimpse of history where sports victory was more than just another win. It was proof that our stories are worth telling to the world, and that was a shift in cinema for us. We want to tell our stories to the world in the way that we see fit. Coming in at number 1 is the 2017 Inxeba, directed by John Trengrove, his directorial debut. Though the movie had a lot of controversy, it is the most audacious and visually stunning feature that is both memorable and vividly provocative. The movie not only talks about the sacred traditional customs that young Xhosa guys must go through, but it tackles the subject of homosexuality, forbidden love in the most daring, inclusive, and non-traditional way ever seen in our local cinema. South African talent shines through in this movie with known faces and new, refreshing appearances. This movie pushes boundaries on the narrative of African masculinity, identity, and sexuality. And if the story doesn't get under your skin, it simply means you haven't told it right. And Inxeba definitely is not that. And a shifter in our cinema and how broad our stories are. And if told right, are a game changer. Alright guys, that's it for today. Thank you for watching. If you agree with us, please let us know. If you don't agree with us, still let us know. Thank you.